Hi, this is Eric Teplitz with today's Daily Insight. I'd like to open today's video with a quote that I love from the novelist E.L. Doctorow, who described the writing process like this. He said, "Writing is like driving at night in the fog. You can only see as far as your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way." I'd like to suggest that the same can be said for living your life. We can only see so far ahead. No matter how brilliant a person we may be, we cannot predict the future, and we cannot understand all that there is to understand about life. It's very easy in hindsight to look back and say, oh man, I should have done this, or I shouldn't have done that. But the fact is that we can't foresee what's coming. How many people in the world were prepared for COVID-19, for example? Yeah, sure. Some scientists may have been well aware of the fact that a pandemic could strike at any time. But how many people really were anywhere near prepared for what was to come? The point here is that this is always the case in life. We can never predict the future. We can never see the possible ramifications of every decision we might make and then, instantly decide what the best decision is. We don't know. There are too many variables. There are too many unknowns. So the best that any of us can ever hope to do is simply the next right thing, as best as we can determine that to be, given the understanding that we have at any given point in time. So I hope that this insight will allow you to cultivate a little bit more forgiveness of yourself and self-compassion, because you couldn't possibly have known if you had opened a restaurant at the very beginning of 2020 that COVID-19 was going to strike and change everything. There are so many things that we just can't possibly foresee. All we can ever do is the next right thing, as best as we can determine this to be, given our limited understanding and our limited capacity for predicting the future. So how do we determine our next right thing? I, for one, am a huge proponent of having a journaling practice. A journaling practice is just a way where you can check in with yourself privately on a regular basis, for instance, a daily basis, and just simply write down your thoughts and brainstorm your ideas. And what I found, having been an avid journaler for decades now, is that this is a really great way for me to sense what is the next right thing or some possible next right things that I could do to advance myself in the direction of what it is that I want, what it is I'm trying to accomplish. Now, I can't ever know what the results of any of those actions will be. All that I can do is assess to the best of my ability what the next right step or the next right thing for me to do that feels right to me, that feels in alignment with what I'm trying to do, in alignment with my intentions, in alignment with my goals and desires and values. And that's it. That's all that you can ever do. We don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work, and that's okay. But if we make a point of always doing the next right thing as best as we are able to determine what this might be, I think that that's a brilliant way to go about living your life. And it's very much like driving a car at night in the fog and only being able to see what your headlights allow you to see. You can still make the whole journey of life this way. When you determine that you've made a, quote, mistake, or you've made a decision where you don't like the results, or you felt like you could have done better, you can always redirect your course. You can always move the car in a different direction. So I hope that this is helpful, especially again in terms of being able to forgive your past self for not being perfect, for not being all-knowing and all-wise and able to predict everything that's coming. None of us can. None of us. And so I hope that this idea will allow you to feel more compassion towards yourself and towards others as well, who also are limited in their ability to understand the ramifications of all the things that they say and do. Most of us are doing the best that we can at any given moment in time, And again, I just really strongly recommend, as a way to determine what your next right thing or next right step might be, I highly recommend the practice of journaling. Now, I've created an online course called Opening to Greater Possibilities, and you can access a preview of the course for free, which includes the entire first module, which is called the Power Tool of Journaling. I highly suggest and recommend that you take a look at it. In that video, I elaborate to a much greater extent about the value of journaling and what you can get out of it. So I hope you'll take a look at that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.